We officially have our first trade to talk about of the summer. This is a trade that we knew was happening for a few days now, but it took a while for everything to materialize, and I wanted to make sure I waited to make a video on this until we knew the full details, and it appears as though we now know the full details of this trade, and it is official. The Anaheim Ducks have acquired Chris Kreider from the New York Rangers, along with their own 2025 4th-round draft pick back that they originally sent to New York as part of the Jacob Trouba trade. In exchange, the New York Rangers are receiving prospects Kreider and Toronto's 2025 3rd-round pick. So let's start out by talking about this trade from the point of view of the New York Rangers, and the most important part about this deal for them is the fact that there was no salary retention. So the Anaheim Ducks are taking on the full remaining 2 years of Chris Kreider's contract with a cap hit of $6.5 million. By making this trade, the New York Rangers gain some much needed cap flexibility to be able to go out and be a lot more aggressive in free agency and continue to retool on the fly and try and reshape this roster after what was a very disappointing season. I would imagine this trade does feel a bit bittersweet for Rangers fans, even though Kreider is coming off of one of the worst, maybe the worst seasons of his entire career. He's still a guy who was a fan favorite in New York for a very long time, played there for well over a decade, was one of the more consistent goal scorers of this generation, and obviously had some big moments for the Rangers in the playoffs as well. But at the end of the day, considering Kreider's age and the season that he just had, the fact that the Rangers were able to move on from the remaining 2 years of his deal without having to attach a sweetener, if you're a Rangers fan, I feel like you have to look at that as a win. Not only did the Rangers not have to add a sweetener to make this trade happen, they actually move up 15 spots in the 2025 NHL draft, as well as bring in a decent prospect in Kreider, who was a second-round selection by the Ducks back in 2023. And a little added bonus is Kreider is a hometown guy. He was born in New York. So overall, I definitely think this was a really solid move to make for the New York Rangers, and if you're a Rangers fan and you don't have a favorite team in the Western Conference, it may be time to adopt the Anaheim Ducks as your second favorite team, because that is now $14.5 million in cap space that the Ducks have helped the Rangers clear up between this trade and the Trouba trade that happened earlier in the season. Shifting focus now and talking a little bit about this deal from the point of view of the Anaheim Ducks, I honestly think this was a pretty solid move for them as well. Even though there was no salary retention as part of this trade and the Ducks are taking on the full remaining 2 years of Kreider's deal, they still have over $32 million in projected cap space. I think it's a safe bet to assume that the Anaheim Ducks aren't going to be using up all of that cap space this summer, so by making a trade like this, it gets them closer to hitting the cap floor. The Ducks are a team that I definitely think are going to be aiming to be a lot more competitive next season, and even though again Chris Kreider is coming off of one of the worst seasons of his entire career, he still scored 22 goals in 68 games. I think this is a guy that still should be able to score 25 goals in a season with his eyes closed if he's able to stay healthy, and the Ducks could definitely use the added scoring punch as they ranked just 22nd in the NHL this past season in goals per game, and they had the league's worst power play percentage at just 11.8%. Throughout his career, Chris Kreider has notoriously been one of the better net front guys on the power play in the entire league. He has a great set of hands in tight, fantastic hand-eye. A lot of his goals come off deflections and tips, so hopefully he can provide some value there as well for the Ducks as they look to improve their power play next season. It is also worth mentioning that Chris Kreider had to waive his no-trade clause to okay this trade, so it's not like he's getting shipped to Anaheim against his will. And I really think over the next few seasons, Anaheim's young stars like Mason McTavish and Leo Carlsson are going to benefit from having somebody like Chris Kreider on the roster. So overall, I think a solid move for the Anaheim Ducks. They really didn't give up much at all here, and I would definitely prefer a team like Anaheim make a move like this as opposed to going out and signing a 31 or 32-year-old unrestricted free agent to a 5 or 6 year deal. All in all, solid trade for both sides in my opinion, but as always, I want to know what you guys are thinking, especially if you're a fan of either the Anaheim Ducks or the New York Rangers. Sound off down below in the comments. Let me know how you're feeling about this trade. If you ended up enjoying this video and you're excited for more trades to happen as we get closer and closer to the NHL draft, then be sure to leave a like on this video. It's the best way to let me know that you enjoyed, and it does actually help out the videos a ton. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button because we're going to be posting videos just like this on all of the major trades that are going to be happening this summer. And with that all being said, I will talk to you guys all again soon.